to see the overall the subject contains of all the units and what are the important areas which are very important for the preparation for the exam purposes. So, as we already said that the block 1, that is based for the overview of the HRM, I mean international HRMs, where the 3 units are there, that is the introduction to international HRMs, and then your social and cultural contents are there, cross cultural diversity matters, strategic HR management, all these things. In block 2, it was there stuffing, how to recruit the right persons for these international assignment purposes, training and developments, then your international performance management, what the way they have to see their performance levels and what type of approaches should be theirs. Then international compensation package, because it is for the domestic package and the international employees package will be different, and so many other things are to be included. Then internal career management, that is also important. You have to see the expertise and when they will come back, how to adjust them and what the way they can utilize their expertise. So, all these things are in the things. Now, block 3, there are 2 units, basically leaderships and motivation, because everything our leadership is required, because the dynamic behavioral patterns and it is very much needed, especially for the international HRM. The leadership skills are to be as per the latest updated things should be there, and how to create the high performance working systems, that is also part of your block 3. Now, block 4, that is the issues and the challenges, what type of pitfalls or problems are creating, how to resolve all these things. So, international employees relationship, how to build up the relationships, integration of all the units so that it should be achieve the goal of the companies, and trend and challenges of international immigration. This is the way the structure of these units are there. Now, I have to again go through some of the important area. Organization must either globalize or die, because you see business is not a charity, because you have to some profit margin should be there, so that you can survive, you can able to earn something profit revenues and you can give it to employees, and the growth should be there. So, that is why the DICE is saying, that is your notable former CEO of GE, he says the organization must either globalize or die. So, basic international HRM management, the terminology, basically you have to understand what the terminology are there. What is the MNC, that is the multinational corporations, then your transactional corporation, then your home country or parent countries, basically the HPN, HPC or your home country nationals, host country, then your parent countries nationals. This is the way it is break up, host country nationals and your third party nationals. So, all these abbreviations should be keep in mind when you are go through this inside, to go inside the things. Objectives, you see any organizations, some objectives should be there to acquire the upper hand or the competitive advantage. You have to take some competitive advantage of overall the market, and definitely it should be some effectiveness and efficiency of the employees are manifold it is required. Goal should be set so that the customer satisfaction can be achieved. Market leader, you should have some market leader positions in the market. Based on your, you have to utilize your resources, optimizations is very much needed. Utilization of the raw materials and the human resource power is also. Then your any dispute that should be in a fast track, it should be resolved between the domestic and the foreign employees, even in terms of the cross culture management and the corporations, cooperations. If any somehow any loopholes or any embarrassing conditions are coming up in a war fruit, you have to finish it up. So, dissolve is very, I think the resolution is very much needed. Then should be some activities are there in the IHRM. We know this is carried out for the cross borders and the locations other than the headquarters in the home country. There should be some some activities should be there, and some linkages, and to synergize the business between the organization's activities. All these different activities are there. Suppose there are 5, 6, 7 activities are there. All these activities should be energized, synchronized, and linkages basically, and so that it should go in one go, should go in parallelly. So every activities are to be taken priority and equal weightage to be given. Then domestic and international companies are working on synergize, because it is very much needed, because domestic headquarters or the subsidiaries are located in the other. So, there should be some coordinations are very much needed. It should be aligned what are the policies, guidelines and way of communications, that should be in a proper. The scope of activities and it should be widened from the point of host countries and even in your third country nationals, and they have additional remunerations function that needs to be attended to, because those are third party nationals, their living standards may be different, their working style is also different. That has to be noted and it should be analyzed, and what the way should the package should be there. There is some introductory some of the network is given, so some of the introductions, that is international human resource encompasses of various activities, that is the wider nationals and the different approaches and a variety of the functions, then your adoring the complexities of the HRM activities, then your influence or the international environment, then your border relationships and the complexities, so on. Then there is a very important, that is what the domestic human resource management versus international human resource management. So that thing is very some comparisons has given. So that is our important table and charts for the exam preparation purpose. Normally questions are coming in this area. Then Douglas Wind of the says in the 1969, he is advocate 4 approaches. What are the 4 approaches for international business? That is your ethnocentric approaches, polycentrics, then your regiocentrics and geocentric approaches. This type of questions normally coming, you have to explain all the approaches and with examples. You have to then some of the example are given for ethnocentric organizations. When you are attempting any questions, try to give some your interactions and features, and some lot of diagrams you have to give it, some block diagram, flow charts or something. Then in the last you have to give some examples, conclusions like this way. Then it will be very compact answer will be there, and student can get a good marks, all these things. So paragraph wise you have to segregate in it 3 or 4 part of your answer should be there. Introductions, then your features of the answers, I mean the topics, then your some diagrams, if it is there, it is relevant, some diagrams you have to give it, and finally the conclusions like this. So it is different polycentric organizations are likely like this. So it is also the diagram I am showing. Although you have already explained in the previous sessions and in subsequent sessions you can see it, today actually I am just reviewing them to give the clips of the, so that it can be recalled in the mind. So, this is the area to be more preparation is required. Then your region centric organizations, this organizational structures, that is also like this way. It is a region centric. When you are giving different approaches, definitions, at the same time that after that you have to give some diagrams, and after that some example of who that approaches are adopted by which companies, that is will be better. Then this is your geocentric organizations, where geographically are located in different places, and how that integrations are there. Some operations, finance, marketing, and your finance, your human resource management, everything are located in different way, and different regions are there, region 1, region 2, region 3. Here typically one of the regions, region 3 has shown. Similarly, same thing, region 1 and region 2 also have a same type of block diagrams. Then see the what are the activities under the international HRM, that is activities. The HR planning is also needed, international recruitment and the selection policies, then your training and development, then your expert remunerations, because what type of remuneration package should be there, then your performance appraisal activities and the repartition. So, when they come back, how to settle them for the some policies should be there to how to utilize them maximum, their experience, their talent, their everything, and they should feel some proud. Yes, I have done lot of projects in the abroad, and now I am delivering the things from my experience to the others. So, that type of package should be there for them also. So, this is the activities under this. If the question is coming, what are the activities for the international HRM, then you have to highlight all these points. Then your multinational companies, many phases are there, many problems are also there, cultural problems there. What are the problems or challenges, you can see it. The cultural, that is one of the things, that is a coverage, and your determinants, what are the determinants, are there influencing factors. Then another cultural factor, that is your knowledge, beliefs, some different regions, different diversity people are there. So, they are working in together, and maybe their value systems are different because of their caste and their regions and their whatever the things. So, different level is also this. And then another problem is there, that is your attitudes and your behaviors as such. And significant impact, the culture is significant impact. What are the things? Culture and the HRM policies are really impact very much. What are the practices? It should be a world class practices, where things are adopted, accepted by everybody. Some rules, proper rules should be there. Then impact of the training is also very much needed, because proper training is very much important. So, it may be different modules for the different purposes, and before that some pre-training is also required to before them sent to the different location of the abroad or other countries. So, their cultures, their way of talking, even in the language, even though some of the words, what the way they are expressing the things, because word may be different. Some country, there some of the words are may not be known. They have to feel some different way. So, that also you see. So, impact of the communications training are to be seen. Compensation and the reward is also, it will give some impact of the culture, because if the salary is not at par with the other companies, or not for their survival conditions, or they are facing some problem in there, then it may be create a problem there. It will impact in their cultures also. Reward is also should be time to time. You have to declare some of the rewards, appreciations, and award money in times of later. So, what are the way you have to give some their recommendations or recognitions also required. Then performance evaluation is also very much needed, because if we not evaluate it, we should not know where we don't can guess or assess the things where the problem is lying. So, for that you have to have a good performance evaluation systems. Then impact of the HR priority. Sometimes the prioritizations are describing it is not a actual in sequence wise, which will be affecting the total integrity or something. So, the some of the significant impact are here. Then defining the cultures, basically the culture is the way of the behaving the and the your believing the group of the people and developed other time over the time of the shares. So, it is by a different Harris 2007, he defined basically the culture as a way of behaving, what the way you are behaving, and that is the by the group of people they are accepting or not. So, over a your and sharing the things. And then another your Klujon 1961, he described culture as the symbols representing the unique achievements of the human groups, including their embodiment in artifacts. The essential core of a culture is its traditional ideas, and above all its value are composed of. So, it is all are the definitions. And then the impact of the study culturing, that sometimes the questions are coming, you derive the advantage and disadvantage of the study cultures. So, that time what are the advantage for that? There is a better work diversity management will be, but in the disadvantages formation of groups and the culture, that is stereotypes, assumptions are there. Effective mergers and acquisitions is the other advantage, and in the disadvantage developing the inflexible and the rigid perceptions, because the different people are coming from different companies, their culture, their attitudes or values will be different. So, sometimes it is a some flexibility may not be there, some rigidity will be there like this way. So, everywhere some pros and cons, some problems, some advantage, some disadvantage will be there, merits, demerits, everything will be there. That you have to highlight if the questions are coming in related to importance of study the cultures. So, why it is important cultural studies for purposes. So, you have to, and advantage and disadvantage you can have a tabular form or maybe the paragraphs, what the way you feel comfortable you can write. Then cultural diversity, as I said, the workspace can result in convictions regarding the race, age, nationality, regions or gender orientations, because some conviction is required, it will count through these cultural diversity is there, because when the things are there. Sensitivity, culture sensitivity, the impulse being able to learn from the different people. So, you have to learn. So, that is why there some sensitivity are required in the cultures. So, and then your it is essential as you are sensitized the individuals with the accept of cultural identity, because you have to give some respect to the other cultures also, and absorptions are very much required. So, that everybody should be in a particularly in the one platforms and culturally. So, cultural associations and the cultural differences are to be noted. That is the basically part of your sensitivity. Then another some experiment, or you can say the definitions are there by the Hofstede makes two significant proposals. He has given some proposals, cultural perceptives and your in the business management 2001, and your Tominers and the Hamden and Turner 1997. These two perspectives observe culture as your social and the cultural context of the international IHRM. So, to see the basically the conditioning of the practices and the policies. People are working, they are really systematically they are doing or not, they are in the society's part, conditioning practices and the your policies are. As per the awards and this 2006, the national culture of a host country and the parent country, there is a firm can influence by. There is attitudes in international negotiations and their outcomes, the mergers and the acquisitions. Some of the theories are there, that is your outcome of the investment, then your ownership with the organizations, then your centralization and your hierarchies, and then with the organizational structure, manager, subordinates, relationship between, there is a dynamic concept of the performance management, and then your attitude towards the job and the career mobility. These all are your observed by your Hofstede 1997. He provides all these things. Then this is the one of the example of model of the cultures, what the way, just like a onion, you have seen the onion models, the outer layers, then a second layer, third layer, and the core area, core layers. So values are in the core, in the inside, just like a onion. When we are open up the onions, different layer will be there. Same he has tried to explain, correlate with these things through these onions. So symbols and heroes, then your recitals, and what are the practices. So this way you have to go inside the core area. Ultimate aim to core area to be more growth and culturally can be more sophisticated or more effectively people can work there. So that if you can have a good culture creation of these things. So there are already that things are given, the different layers are there, and every layer have some descriptions are there. This is a tabulated form. This is your circular form you have seen symbolically. Then after that is the tabular form and explain which layer is what descriptions. Then another your 6 dimensions cultures are, again it is by the Hofstede's 6 dimensions culture. Question may come around this, explain these things. Then you have to show these cultural dimensions, what are the cultural dimensions. Then your power distance, your intelligence and the restraints, then your long term and the short terms, then your masculinity and the femininity, then your tolerance of the uncertainty and individuality. So these all are the in the cross culture behaviors patterns. Then 6 dimensions, as I shown, there are basically 6 dimensions, there is individual, and now again the question may come, individualisms versus your collectivisms, then your masculinity versus the femininity, uncertainty versus avoidance index, what are the meaning, long term versus short term orientations, intelligence versus the restraints. So these all are different definitions of this. You have to, question may come from this area. Then uncertainty avoidance, how to avoid the uncertainty. For that some power distance, institutional collectivisms and group of collectivisms, gender generalizations, all of these things are there. Through the way you can overcome the situations. Future orientations, the performance orientations, human orientations, cultural convergence and your cultural divergence, globalizations and your cultural convergences, localizations and cultural divergence, globalizations and the cultural cross management. These all are from the related to your cultural convergence. Then cross culture diversification, they are the most multinational companies are home to most economically advanced nations and but operate in many different countries. So that they are actually the cross culture as matter. So, economics benefit and the foreign direct investments from the multinational companies. So, this is the thing basically here what I try to emphasize the things. So, strategies, policies and the practices by the host country are to be robust and flexibility should be there. Accommodations and the practitioners have been considered for the multinational companies, models and the resources of the managerial innovation parts. So, I have to consider this type of areas people. So, developed countries, here actually some United States, what the way there, Japan, then your United Kingdoms, and developing countries your Turkey, India and the Middle East, China, what their practices and what the type of the steps they have taken care for the cross culture diversity, that is highlighted. So, Japan, they are basically the homogeneous culture, solid feelings are there, they are to the strong sense of duty in the Japans, the minimum things are there. Suggestion box is already there, it's a ringi actually in Japan. You can put there your policies and what are the decision making process. You can also participate through this your viewpoint you can already dropped in there. So, quality cycle is also a little gathering, so that they can ask what are the activities they can discuss and the workers and the employees and doing similar work led by a manager. This is a voluntary inclusions in the quality circles. That is all are arbitrary by the Japan. Then teamwork and the your consensus, then your subordinates approval and the decision making process are very much this is the way you can socialize before the institutions on the job training, and that is one of the things in the Japan, the training system they are very unique and they are taken care, a lot of programs are there. So, that is one of the things are initiation of the on job training part. Similarly, other countries are also there. So, some your United States, there are some the bosses are friendly and the subordinates are willing to questions and the authorities. American culture is anti-trade unionisms. So, here actually in this unit mostly the which country their cultural practices are theirs. Why it is needed to know as India? Because you are sending somebody, you are likely to open up some of the factory or plant or offices. So, that is why you should know the culture of that countries. So, before that you have to aware of all these things before sending the persons, you have to, so that he should equipped from all respect. Here one of the then your United Kingdoms, their individualisms are there and their realistics and the better wages and the working conditions are there. They are keeping in this way. So, definitely when you are sending somebody in the USA, in the United Kingdom, in England, your some officials, staff will be considered all these points. Your staffs before sending you have to consider all these things, so that you should make a relationship with the others and career oriented part and switch to another companies. So, these all are the practices in the UK. Liberty, then the equality, they believe these things. People are more about their liberty. Then for white, definitely some white collar employees and the managers are given the preferential statements, it is always there, and some of the drawbacks are merits, demerits is also given, that is there actually. In the Turkey, in the case Turkey is one of the biggest business partner of the Europe country, European Unions even. And significant advantages because the Turkey is situated in geographically in such a place, one side is your Europe and the other is Asian countries. So, this is a bridging we can see it. So, that is why the it is the advantage there, significant advantage. So, or other way it is the gateway connecting the 3 geographical regions, it is connected. So, that is why their legal, political and social reforms are there. Nationalisms and the secularizations are in there in the culture. It is blended, both the things are blended, and they are basically the conservatives, and there are some traditional things they have to follow it in the Turkish, and disparity in the equality between your superiors and the subordinates. So, this is the way different countries, their cultures are highlighted here. Arab and Middle East countries are also their Arab ethnicity and the following, they have to follow the Islam also Middle East. But there one of the advantages is the tax free, because taxation is not there, because most of the senior peoples are there nationals only, but mostly the technical and the high other works are they are hiring from the other countries. So, the convey through the private content, because most of the things, the decision making process they are taking very fast, and within this surrounding some of the peoples can take the decision making process, not all. So, it is a private basically the private contacts are given. Written letters and the memos are avoided. Normally they have that type of formality, they do not have, they do not wait for these things. Approval process is very fast, no so much hierarchy are there. So, Arab countries are recruited. So, high level expertise are recruited from the developed countries like the Europe and the North America. They are expertise, they are feel they are more experienced and expert. And lower level jobs are they are recruited from mostly the India, Pakistan, Malaysia and the Philippines and other Arab countries. They are recruiting the things. So, it is one of the good things, it is well paid, and provided the tax exemptions are there. So, that is one of the advantage, and with no work assurance, but there is no work assurance, security and the agreement restorations. Non-professional attitudes towards the business, nepotisms are there, and the intents of the social culture pressures are observed during the recruitment, they are taking the things. So, every country there are different policy and philosophy are there. Then your to come for Indian culture systems. Indian are basically here actually your fatalisms and emotional expressionships, hospitality and friendliness and the standard features observed across the culture spectrums we have to see. So, the people are community conscious, and community associations incorporates the close family and more distant families are there. So, direct relatives and your company, caste and religions groups are, so that type of feelings are there, but the group orientations is not observed in the workplace, but in the workplace it is not there. So, caste and the subcaste consensus and zero power is given to the lower rank, separations in power, pay, working circumstances and honors for your individuals in the higher and the lower positions. So, these some of the your individual advantage and the plants and nearby the industries. That is basically a democracy based country. China, the most acquainted human civilizations on the planet. The nation was under the socialist rule beginning around 1921. Then as you know, there are some reforms has gone, and decentralized decision making are there. China has the much diversity due to your various ethnic groups, languages and religions. So, ethics and values, because of this the ethics and values, the Chinese are collectivists and learn towards the group, and frequently they show the individualistics and your inclinations also. Then control over even during the recruitment process of the organizations. So, it is a very this unit 3 is very important and very vast also. There are so many things are involved, and as the international this subject international market, you have to culturally you have to know all these things. This is the one point, main things, skill enough, then only you can survive, otherwise it is a very problem. If you do not know the culture of the other countries, then it is very difficult to things. And there during the mergers depends on the rules and methods, while acquisitions is the impulse controls, then and the acknowledgement of the social communities are empowered. When the mergers from the different country company, suppose one is India and another, they both the companies are merging, that is a very difficult issues of this. So, then some framework of the strategic human resource management. So, there is the lifestyle models are there, then progressive phases and productive life cycles, organizational life cycles, the different framework are there. So, there are three models are doing basically your exclusive and your additive and your integratives, your ethnocentric, polycentric and geocentrics, these approaches. Already you have different diagrams in the before the slides have already shown. The firm strategy is deciding the HR processes in other countries. So, resource dependence theory, resource based view of the firm, knowledge biased view of the firm and the organizational learning theory, relations and the social capital theory, these all are part of your framework. There is one of the diagrams there. There is a role of human resource in the shaping the organizational architecture, what the way they can shape the things. This diagram already I have explained in earlier sessions also. And here I am showing just some of the important part which are likely to be come in the exam, and you have to prepare a particular. You can focus on this area basically. Now, the critical factors for the consider in the phases basically the strategic. When I am talking about your strategic international HRMs, so you have to focus on the culture, was one of the things. Regulatory influences, what type of rule and regulation and laws are there, it is implemented or amended. Labor market and your available technology and infrastructures. Strategy of a two dimension, the strategy there are two dimensions, one is outcomes and process. Outcomes the tail, whether the strategy is focused on maximizing profit or whether there are multiple goals of which the profit maximization is also a part. Process, they are considering consider the whether your process comes about as a result of planning or other factors. So, based on these two factors, Richards in 1993 he identified the four perspectives of the strategy. One is your classical, evolutionary and your processuals and systematic. The different forms processed by the local differentiations and your global integrations and worldwide innovations. So, the multinational firms, your decentralized federations and the global firm basically a centralized hub. Then international firms, your coordinated federations, then your transitional firms is basically integrated networks. Here actually I am just giving you some of the points only. Then a student has to elaborate the things during the exam, you have to write something and you have to elaborate a little more with the examples. The role of a corporate human resource functions, there are two classes of knowledge, there is explicit knowledge and your implicit knowledge. Explicit knowledge is basically your confined, codified, basically you codify the things. easily communicated, and your shared complex data, and some manuals should be there. These all are the explicit knowledge should be. Tactic or the implicit knowledge are not easily visible or expressible. You cannot express the things, but still it is required. Transfer of knowledge, that is across the borders, is a very utmost necessary, because those who are working there, you have to time to time you have to give some learning process should be there, some tools and tackles should be there, so that they can also learn and update it, basically to update the everybody. So, transfer of knowledge across the borders is utmost required to build the competency based organizations. The frame of the references determines and regulates whether the certain things or behaviors are accepted in the social norms. So, non-verbal signals is also verbal, you have to understand the verbal and non-verbal signals also, because it is also a part and parcel of your communications. So, sometimes the non-verbal or communication is also very important, sometimes different layer of employees, and to build up the relationships very much required. So, MMC's ability to ensure that all the operating units around the world act by their overall policy in a systematic, coordinated and consistent manner. So, they have to ensure the things, so all the units. And four main strategies are there, that is your global cost leaderships, multi-domestics, transactionals and your regionals. MMC should be the cost effective. The quick changing global environment is impacted due to globalization of the business markets and the rapid accelerations of the products, technology, life cycles. These all are cross culture diversity, as we already said, is important. It impacts in the overall organizational effectiveness and the decisions associated with the employee's global strategy. So, you have to be very careful about this area. Multi-domestic strategy, standardization of the policies and the structures and the operation procedures can lead to declining the interest in the local market. The scope and direction of the adoptions can vary from regional market to another. Subsidiaries should have a independence or the autonomy to modify their strategies, because if I not give some autonomy or authorization to your subsidiaries, then it may be create problems, because again it will be delay. Basically main thing is delay, lot of discussions, maybe alternatives are required. So, let them decide, because they know better way what are the conditions are theirs. So, modify and the strategies can be for the own company and product divisions demand fit as per their local context. Traditional strategy, basically the nations across the global vary because of the geographical locations, their climate is also vary from each others due to political reasons, legal, economic and your socio-cultural environments. So, people tastes will be different, because different region people different taste. So, regional languages and the financial income also impact. So, thus the pressure is created on a multinationals to provide the locally appropriate products and the services. So, it is a some sort of challenge also, and pressures are always there. Emphasis on the global learning. So, that is why it is giving a more emphasis on the global learnings, and it focuses on the flow of skills and product offerings. So, key decision centers to optimize its global efficiency and local responsiveness. So, competitive strategies of the multinational regional strategy, there you see the tough challenge to finding the optimal balance between the global integrations and the local representatives. So, multinationals to reevaluate their strategy due to globalizations, because time to time it is changing. You know, as we know, because of the tariff changes in the internationally. So, definitely it is also impacting, because as you know, the TCS, the software companies, the Infosys, they are in the abroad company, it is impacted because the dollar exchange rates or tariff rates, it may affect. So, and it is already affected also. So, that is why you have to be very careful about the, and time to time the strategy has to be changed, so that it can be aligned with your objectives always. What are the variations are there? The strategies focuses on the isolations, each regions and the working toward the becoming market leaders in these regions. Then optimal organizational capabilities, maximizations and the farm performance are to be looked after. The type of organizational structures in the mentioned below, that is one is the global productive division structures, where you have to see the functional activities are there, that should be robust and the systemized, and control should be there. So, inputs from the overseas and the local subsidiaries are often not considered, because that is why it is required, because when you are the division, product divisions, the global product divisions structure we are preparing. So, you have to take inputs or data from your local subsidiaries also and overseas, both the things. Then you can take some decisions or make a strategy. So, global area division structures, there the local adoptions are very important. Then the global area division structures, where the substantial independence is enjoyed the regional and the country managers to adopt their strategies in their own countries, product divisions, to tailor, this should be tailor fit the local needs and the demands. So, before making some strategies, you have to consider all these aspects. So, matrix systems. Now, international the matrix, or we can say the international division is set up to overcome the global integrations and the local representativeness, the challenges. That is one of the elements are there, critical to the structures. What are the elements? There is the local and the overseas mergers share the common global divisions. Then your balance and the synergy in the relationship between them. Then your systematic and elaborate movements of the ideas, informations and the workforce between them happens on the regular basis. Then your linkages are created across the operating units, subsidiaries and headquarters. These all are the elements for the when you are talking about the structures, because before making the structures, these all are the elements, inputs you require, and you have to make this. Now, another function is, that is your recruitment and selections, that is your international assignments, personally you have to give it. So, you have to recruit in such a persons, the right persons, so that when you are giving this assignment, it can be fulfilled or perform well. So, that potential job candidates are required, then it is sufficient numbers of quality, so that the organizations can select the most appropriate people to the fit to the job needs. The job descriptions to be prepared, and the candidates are recruited for selecting the most suitable persons for the job. staffing, again actually we are talking about this thing assignment purpose and international assignments. So, here actually most of the multinational companies is a corporations. So, the International Labour Organizations ILO has defined and multinational company as a corporation that has its management headquarters in one country as known as the home country and operates in the several other countries that is known as host countries. That is in the basically related to your first unit. So, trend towards the globalizations and the size of the market that is growing the economics like the India, and the China, it reinforces the significance of the international assignment. Moreover, there is a growing recognition that the success of the global business depends most critically on the on recruitings and desire the quality of senior managements in multinational companies. It is by the 2000 Saylor is saying. Now, objectives of the recruitment and the selection. What should be the objectives of this? It can also recruit candidates from a country other than the parents and the host country also. So, third country, that is basically from the third country, parent country nationals PCNs, host country nationals HCNs, and the third country nationals TCNs, or a suitable combinations of the three classes of the employees. So, you can recruit from as a mix things, because from the home country, from the third country, and from the your or combination of all threes. So, different approaches to the staffing of the multinational companies. Again, there are different approaches. Your polycentric, geocentric, ethnocentric, and your regiocentrics. So, different recruiting at the time of recruiting also in different things you have to adopt. What are the factors affecting the PCN, HCN and TCN mix? What are the factors are there during the recruitment? Because certain extent the PCN and TCN mix is a subsidiary, because Japanese companies stop their subsidiaries with a high number of PCNs. You see the differences when Japan's philosophy for control purposes, because for control purposes they are recruiting from the your high number of PCNs, parent companies. US companies are believed to be at the other extreme, and you will find a high proportion of HCNs. So, home country nationals in the subsidiaries of the US firms. So, culture is defined by the as the collective programming of the mind, which distinguishes the members of one category of the people and from those of the others. Now, two dimensions of the aspect of the recruitment, as we said, the global scales and your selection stage are there. Here actually at the time of selection you have to be careful about the cultural shock is also there, because before sending to somebody you have to be very careful. It should not be feel no return. I mean the homesickness or maybe uncomfortable, not adjusting the perfectly, I mean feel some embarrassing conditions, that should not. So, it is initially some shocking when you are go with a different cultures, different way of. So, if you prepared for that, mentally you have to prepare, your mindset is ready, your attitude is also flexible, and you can do this, you can learn the things, all these things. Then you can slowly reduce your cultural shocks. So, that part company has to take care. So, that is your selected candidates is expected to experience in the country of work. So, it is a priority to before deployed or before sending to somebody in the other units, in the foreign units especially. So, you have to be very careful about it. You have to see his cultural, he should not feel any cultural shock or any embarrassing conditions or uncomfortable conditions, because they are from the families, or maybe, or even if you take your family itself, then only it is a problem, because the spouses may not be difficult to handle the situation of the local peoples in the market and everything. Children may be feeling some different. So, all together have to overall things are you have to should be considered. So, that you have to prepare for that. Some pre-training is required, language trainings and your other purpose things are required, so that you can very easily can send them and perform well. So, now the stopping and the international, that is why there is some diagram is there. There is a honeymoon stage, basically the cultural shock diagrams, basically it is here. First some of the month you can say you try to adjusting the things. His performance level will be naturally will be goes down. He cannot concentrate his work, because he has very much try to understand their cultures, their languages, their verbal, non-verbal indications and all these things. They are very busy with their mind is not concentrated in the work itself. Then after that, when he has passed through this cultural shock, then slowly it will be stages of the adjustment. Now he is slowly adjusting the situations, and after that he has the mastery of this thing and he can survive there. So time frame is there. Basically it is not a first day, it is not possible. It is different times. You have to give some certain time to adjust all these things, so that when the shock period is over, then he can slowly concentrate on this work. It may take 15 days, 1 month or something. So, that has to be considered. Now, he has in this that we cannot give a some workload or something, because initially he has to adjust with the social systems. But after the socializations, then when there is socializations, then definitely he can work on this. So, this is the area very important part. The phases, there are different phases are there. So, through this curve it is showing. So, there are how to recruitment internal candidates. You can first things, if you feel internally the candidates are proper and they are talented, then you can take other external recruitment for this headhunters, then cross national advertisings, internet recruitment. Then there are so many ways you can things. Advantage is the internet recruitment, because readily it is available, faster recruitment process are there, easily available, then it provides images also, up to date and modern organizations also. So, this is the way recruitment methods are there, and difficulties faced by the multinational companies while they recruiting the HCN, because managers have been emulated the following things: a lack of image of the foreign market, because it is a problem is not there, a lack of knowledge of the local labor market, ignorance of the local educations, lack of knowledge, the status of the qualifications, language and the cultural problems in the interviews. So, these all are some of the difficulties faced by the multinational companies. The question may come in this area also. What are the problems or barriers are there? So, I think then expertise, those who are coming back, or there should be process the following skill, basically the cultural sensitivity, then your concern of the business ethics, business acumes, then communication skills, persistence, flexibility, adaptations, international exposures, open mindedness, and tolerance of the differences. There are actually some lot of things are there. These are the following skills basically highlighted for the expertise. Then some of the failure and selections, why the failure of the selections, select the right persons, is considered the most important reasons for the expertise failures, because the money spent in the expertise, then your the salary allowances may not be sufficient, and indirect cost is also there, including the losses, loss of the opportunity, and the market shares, and the your reputation of the host countries. So, failed repartees is the self-esteem. So, this is the way now I have complete all the review classes of all the session, even I think particular this period. So, we have to now looking forward for the new courses in the next sessions. Okay, thank you.